Hi everyone. I guess I could have tagged this onto my previous video, but although in my opinion the two issues are linked in a way, it is also two separate matters which should not be confused. Now, I find it very, very hard to decide who is actually telling the truth and who is not when it comes to the current situation involving Harry and Meghan and the royal family. What I do know is that there is likely a bit of panic setting in, and that certain people's grey matter is likely working overtime to come up with cover stories and obviously more lies. Now, I've been smiling a little to myself because everyone had been asking Omid the same question. Did he send the copy off with those paragraphs in the manuscript? And he keeps saying, no, he didn't. He wouldn't. But no one had even asked him whether he actually wrote those exact paragraphs in those exact words. Of course, I'm not suggesting that the translator inserted those paragraphs. Not at all. She would have way too much to lose. But what I am suggesting is that someone on maybe Megan's payroll may have slipped it in. I'm sure she knows someone who knows someone in the Netherlands after their visit to The Hague. Remember, the copy for translation was likely sent electronically, so basically anyone could have typed those words. Unlikely, but possible. Omid or the publisher or his agent could also have sent the wrong copy. It is also possible. But the point is that what was said. And unless Scobie can prove without any doubt that he was not responsible for the insertion of the paragraphs or the words on two different pages in the first place, which incidentally he did not deny, as author of the book, he is responsible for what is in the book. What I mean is that Omid may not be responsible or did not mean to send the specific copy to the translator. Maybe he or his publisher or his agent really did accidentally select the wrong copy of his book on his or her laptop and sent it. But the point is that he, Omid, inserted those words in the first place, unless he can prove that he didn't, that someone sneaked on his laptop or sneaked into his documents and added those words. Unless he can do that, he himself originally inserted those words and he originally intended for it to come out in his book. He was likely warned not to, likely by the publisher's lawyer. So the further point is, who told Omid this load of shite? Remember, in Finding Freebies, Omid named Dr. Penelope Law as the OBGYN who birthed Archie. Remember that? Remember how it was actually proven that it was not her? Now, who told Omid in the first place that it was Dr. Law? Omid even have known or thought about Dr. Law if he was not told that she attended to the birth? I don't think so. Dr. Law, although part of the titled elite set through her husband, is one of hundreds of OBGYNs in London and surrounding areas. Dr. Law does not really even work at the Portland. Dr. Law is not really famous for anything. So, who told Omid Dr. Law was the attending OBGYN? Is it possible that Megan, through her friends or staff or ex-lovers, lied to Omid? Surely not. I'm being sarcastic. But poor Omid was clearly not blessed with enough healthy brain cells to actually stop and think. No, he is so dumb, he goes and does it again. Megan or her people inform Scobie the Queen's body will be transported on the royal train. And Scobie goes and tells the lie to the entire world via Yahoo. Now one would think a healthy person would actually think that being made a fool of so often would be a red flag. But no, he, Omid, really, honestly and truly goes and does it again. And this time he may be in real trouble. Look, I know it makes for good clicks and views, but I do not think the royal family will sue Omid or his publisher. I can almost 99% guarantee you that the king won't. Firstly, he would not want to, and secondly, he would be setting a brand new precedent if he does, as the monarch cannot or is not supposed to sue or be sued. But who knows? Maybe there is a loophole I do not know of, but I sincerely doubt it. But, like I said before, William can sue, Catherine can sue, Piers Morgan can sue Omid, and practically anyone and everyone else he lied about in the book can actually sue him. But what is the king going to do? I hear so many YouTubers saying that the king may now finally consider stripping Harry's titles. And that is the one reason why I stayed a little quiet on the subject of the book. Because I do not wish to bring you bollocks for fame, clicks, views, or money. Because regardless of anything, I do not wish to stay up at night worrying about the bullshit I put out in the ether. The heat and mosquitoes are enough to keep me awake, thank you very much. Anyway, I asked and reached out and begged and eventually just gave up and said, okay then, tell me what you think. Well, what my contact thinks is that finally there will be a serious meeting between the king, his other son, I mean the decent one, and their households. And when we talk about the royal households, we are not talking about the cook and the cleaner, but rather about their senior advisors, private secretaries, etc. My contact thinks that the parties will have their lawyers present, maybe even members of the Privy Council, which may also include at least two more people in the legal profession. However, it is my contact's opinion that the meeting may cause a rift between the King and William or worsen the already fraught working relationship, because it is absolutely no secret that the King and William differ in opinion when it comes to Harry and Meghan. It is thought that William, if he could have his way, would never ever want to deal with Harry and Meghan ever again. If it was up to William, he would sever all ties between Harry, Meghan, and the monarchy, obviously or allegedly. However, it is my contact's further opinion that the king will continue to stand firm and refuse to strip Harry's title. It is my contact's opinion that what had been reported in the Mirror, namely that the king does not want to humiliate Harry and Meghan, is indeed true. It is also true that the king himself had opposed the new titles bill and convinced his Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to do so as well. But having said all of that, my contact does think that somehow Scobie will be made the scapegoat and example of, and that he will not walk away from this unscathed. According to my contact, he would prefer not to make any predictions about the immediate future because, regardless of the king's feelings and opinion, William is allegedly at a point of no return. So, unless or until that meeting takes place, it is difficult to say, even for those close to the monarchy or the family. Then it is, of course, very possible that we will never know what was indeed said in that meeting. But from what I hear, there are a number of people shaking in their boots because both the King and William have a temper and they are both equally stubborn. Okay, then very quickly, sometimes I get very, very frustrated because I say a thing over and over and over and no one pays any attention. And then suddenly somebody else mentions the same thing and it becomes breaking news. Oh well. Let me grit my teeth and carry on. I have spoken about the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 so many times in my videos that I actually stopped talking about it. Now, Bob Seeley wants to revive the act which was used to strip extended royal family members of their titles during the First World War. Well, in my opinion, Bob does not need to do much to revive the act because I went and looked it up again and I looked up the actual act, and it was not time limited or only written with the war as a prerequisite. No, it took nearly 2 years to get the act approved, and I think it was amended again in 1919, I think. I'm not sure of the year, and at the moment, I'm way too lazy to go look it up again. But it was indeed amended a couple of years later, and another one or two people lost their title. I will indeed go look it up for you some other time. The heat is getting to me, and I'm far too lethargic to go do research right now. The point is that I cannot see any proof that the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 was ever null and voided. So, as far as I know, it is not a matter of reviving the act, but instead, or maybe amending it slightly, or of purely reminding members of Parliament and the House of Lords of its existence. There is just one big snag concerning the Titles Deprivation Act of 1917, and again, in my opinion, and that is that it will require Parliament asking the King to strip the titles instead of the other way around. And I agree with my contact. I do not think the King has the stomach for it. Why? I don't know. I do not believe the excuse that the king does not want to humiliate Harry and Meghan. The king humiliated a number of people in his lifetime. People like his parents and his first wife and many, many very loyal aides had walked away from his employ totally embittered. I think there is something else at play here, and I have a few guesses, but I honestly do not know for sure. Anyway, guys, I think the best we can do is stay calm and patient a little longer. Something is indeed coming, something is happening, and like my contact, I would prefer not to make a guess. All I can add at the moment is that if I was the king, I would have taken it step by step. Say, strip Harry of his Earl or Baron title. The next time there is drama, take his ducal title, then his princely title, then his Councillor of State position, then his position in the line of succession. Well, actually, if I was monarch, I would have safeguarded my country first and foremost and removed them from the line of succession before anything else. Well, that is me. The king is a different kettle of fish. Okay, guys, I am moling, tunneling, digging. So hang in there for me. As soon as I know something, I will let you know. Okay, guys, just hang on. So just before I got ready to post the video, I was told that King Charles issued a statement basically saying the family stand united against racism and that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will retain their titles. Now, I went and actually read the whole article that I was made aware of, and I saw that it came from Feed News, which is not always very accurate and tends to go for the more salacious. But this article does sound rather believable. But I would much rather go ask or confirm or whatever it will take, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay? So, until tomorrow, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.